Hello there, Ray here, and today I'd like to show you guys this villager patrol farm that I designed, which allows you to be able to accumulate emeralds and other rare things like the illager banners. And if you enjoy videos like this, be sure to go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. We did a lot of testing to do with pillager patrols, the pillager outpost, as well as pillager raids, and other things to do with the 1.14 snapshot during our Twitch streams. If you'd like to check those out, the full archives are going to be linked down in the description. Live streams are a lot of fun. I always enjoy interacting with you guys as well as participating in building up these farms. And I'm looking forward to trying to even set up a server so you guys can join us as we design these farms. And we do stream every Wednesday, Friday, as well as Saturday and Sunday. If you'd like to participate on the streams, it's 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Wednesday stream is always fun because that's a stream where new snapshots come up and then we're always designing up new farms. So I'd love to see you guys there. The pillager patrol farm is relatively simple, yet very effective in what it does. This is where the player will AFK. This is in the center of the spawning floor. And then around the outside, we have some nether portals. The pillager patrols will be able to spawn inside of here any time of the day, so it could be day or night. And they don't use the mob cap, so they can also spawn here even if the whole thing is full of hostile mobs. They also need to have mostly sky access, so you can't just place over like a humongous ceiling to this or multiple layers. That won't really help them spawn. When a raid does spawn in, like one right here, I just have a command block that notifies me when does. You can see how the raid consists of the patrol leader, here's one with the banner, as well as some other pillagers. There even can be vindicators in there. So the pillagers will be able to drop their crossbows, as well as the guy that has a banner, he'll be able to drop his banner, and the vindicators will be able to drop their iron axes, as well as emeralds. So what the leader is going to do, he's going to try to pathfind towards a location. It's not always necessary towards a village. Recently, I've been looking at some other statistics, and just by doing like the F3 plus I, and you can grab information about these guys. And a lot of times they're just pathfinding to a certain position, and then from that position they're pathfinding onwards. But eventually these guys are going to try to pathfind outside of this area where they spawned, and then they're going to try to go in that direction. And they are able to pathfind through the nether portals, and this way when they get up to a hole in the fence, they're able to pathfind through the nether portal, but they end up teleporting with it. Now, these pillager patrols are able to spawn in any place where villagers are able to, so like plains and stuff. Here you go, you can see them going into the portal. And eventually all go inside the portal, and then we have a trap on the other side which we hold them. So plains, taiga, deserts, as well as savannas they can spawn in. Now, they spawn relatively kind of close to a village. The Wikipedia says about 200 blocks, and in my testing it seems to be true. Now, this island here is the island that used to have that village in the center, and notice they spawn quite a bit around this island. But we've also noticed that they will be able to spawn on other areas around the place as well. But they have to spawn on grass or either sand. Now you wouldn't have to flatten out an area as we did here. You just need to make a wall so they can't really escape the area and end up pathfinding along it until they get into a portal. Sometimes they don't pathfind very far, so sometimes they'll end up in between the portals. And that's why the portals are somewhat close to each other, because a lot of times they'll end up sitting in the middle here and they try to get to like a block that's over there, and they won't know to go over to the portal. All these portals here are linked up to the same portal in the Nether, and if we just go over there, we can see the trap that we have set up for these guys. So here in the Nether, you can see that we have a portal, and these are all the pillagers and vindicators that are coming from it. And what we have is a small contraption over here, consisting of 2 dispensers, and there is a bug currently in the game where every time I log off, while not being in the Nether, I end up losing the flint and lava that goes into these dispensers. So lava is supposed to go in this first one here, and the flint still is supposed to go in the second one here. And what this does is it will break the portal. Then we have some slime blocks that are attached to this piston here. And these slime blocks will then be able to push inside the portal and push these guys out. And then what we have is a flint still which will relight it. There is some weird problems to do with these guys once they go through portals. They don't seem to want to get pushed by slime until you relog. So let's try it out first. Okay, you can kind of see it worked. The guys kind of got pushed outwards, but sometimes they end up just suffocating. Yeah, there you go. You can see how they got slid back inside again. So let me relog and see if this fixed it. I also noticed some problems with relogging. Some of the hostile mobs would end up vanishing. So let's see if that happens. Oh, you can see they're like just not showing up. But if I get a little closer, hopefully they'll show up. Let me go inside here. Okay, you can see some of the guys are showing up. How about the guys over here? I don't know. Look like the other guys just vanished. I don't believe they are over here. There's some over here, but I don't believe as many as there was over here get moved down over here. So I don't know if they vanished or if they teleport back to the other side, but let's go check the other side. Nope, I don't see anybody here. So yeah, there is quite a few bugs that are still existing in the snapshot. Hopefully they get fixed before the full release. But we did get some of the guys over here. not as many as I would like. Looked like there was way more when we started. But here you can see the contraption working. Breaks the portal, flying blocks pushes, and then relights it. And typically that would work, but it seems like there are some problems with the snapshot. But once the mobs do fall through, you can see they end up down here. There's also a bug to do with glass, so that if you go in spectator mode instead of it, it's like a solid block, and also it can end up suffocating the mobs. But like I said, this is just a snapshot, so they would probably end up fixing all these bugs. And what would happen is that when the guys do get pushed out and they land over here, they fall down into some tripwire, which has another slime block which pushes them over into these ladders. And if they want to, they can climb up these ladders and they can get stuck up here, or if they can just stand in the ladders like these guys do, they won't take any max cramming. The piston here also is on a clock, so in case one guy gets stuck here, it will just keep pulsing until he gets pushed over. I didn't notice some weird behavior to do with these guys with the banners. They don't seem to take max cramming. I had about 80 of them all standing in one spot, and none of them were taking max cramming. I noticed some weird behavior with pillagers. Sometimes when you come into the nether, you won't be able to use the sweep attack on them. Here you see it works. I think it has to do something with relogging helps. So now it's time to kill these guys for the loot. I just have a sharpness sword that also has looting on it. You also have like mending and breaking and sweeping edge to help you with it. And you can just come in here and you attack these guys and you kill them, and then they will drop the loot. Now some of the stuff you will get is like the iron axes from the Vindicators, and they'll also drop emeralds. And the looting sword will allow you to get more emeralds. You get quite a few crossbows just from the pillagers. And then the pillager leaders will have these type of banners. These are the illager banners, and they're special, as they consist having more layers than that of a normal one, which a player can build. The chance of getting like an iron axe or their crossbow is 8.5% chance, but with looting 3 it goes as high as 11.5. And the Vindicators will drop between 0 and 1 emeralds, and that number can go as high as 4 with looting 3. The illager banners will always drop 1 per patrol leader, and every time you do kill one of those guys, they always will give you the bad omen. This makes it an alternative way to farm up emeralds rather than going ahead and training villagers to get emeralds. And this would be more of a long-term method if you want to try to AFK the system rather than do intense trading towards villagers and crop farming to get your emeralds. Pillagers as well as Vindicators won't drop any items unless they're killed by the player. So let's just fall down and see where they hit the ground. And you can see that all they did was fall here and not drop anything. But if we would go ahead and kill these by player means, you can see that they have a chance of dropping their loot, including the pillagers. Now the XPs that come from both the pillagers and vindicators is 5, similar to most hostile mobs. This also is a cool way to get illager banners, which are pretty cool, as well as useful in causing more raids to occur, which I'll talk about in a later video. But these illager banners can also be replicated just by putting them into a crafting table, as you guys showed me on stream. So if I just put some in here, as well as some white banners, same type of banner as the villager banner's using, you can see it's called a white banner. So I got some of those, and then every time I click over here, you can see that we're just making replicas of the other ones. And there you go. I just made a whole bunch of more replicas. These are exactly the same. Names are exactly the same, and the functionalities are exactly the same, so that we can use them for other things. And for some reason, when I killed a couple of these guys, I end up having 2 different types of banners. So let's take a look and see what is actually going on here. Probably bug, but they ended up 2 different types and they don't want to stack. So something's different with one compared to the other one. So what I do to figure out what's going on with this, I would throw down an item, and then I would come close in with like a spectating count. Then I type in this command, which is data get entity, and this type equals entity, limit is one of them. And then we sort by the nearest. And then I just do this. This will grab the NBT of this item. So this is the NBT of this banner here. Now we'll do the same thing with the next banner. So that was that banner. Now let's drop down this banner and do the same thing. And then let's see the difference between these two and see why the game won't allow them to stack. So I found the difference between the two banners. Right here, you can see in this line it says banner entity tag, and this says patterns, and then pattern. This line it says block entity tags, and it says ID Minecraft banner, and it says pattern, pattern. So for some reason, they're a little bit different, and because of this, they don't stack. And this might be a bug, or I might have to do what type of guy is holding the banners, because you can get the Vindicators to hold the banners as well as the Pillagers. So yeah, so you can see I can throw down like this banner, and they won't go together as one item because of that small difference. Also notice when you do kill the Pillagers or the Vindicators that have the banners on their heads, these are the patrol leaders, you will get the bad omen effect, which shows up here on your player. And this is the one that can be used to summon raids if you go into a village. Now the effect will last 100 minutes, I believe, when we did some testing on stream. And the level of it will depend on how many guys you kill. So if I just kill one guy, as I did, since we just had one patrol in here, I killed one of those guys. You see that I just got level 1, which shows up as no number after it. But if I go ahead and summon in another one of those guys, These are the guys with the banners, and if I would kill this guy, you can see that now I got Omen level 2. The higher the level of the bad Omen, when you do end up going into a village, that's how many waves of the raids will come before it ends. You can see if I go into village now, I'll get 2 waves. Although there is some major bugs in the snapshot, and I'll try to link to the bug reports down in the description of the different bugs that I came across here, and hopefully they'll get fixed eventually before the full release of this version. But the way that I would build this up is I would find a village and then kind of move away from that village and then just build in a kind of fenced in area similar like I did here. It doesn't have to have ocean around it. It just needs to have a fence so that they can't escape it. Then you just AFK in the center of it. Then they'll be able to spawn around in this area and then eventually pathfind their way out of this and go towards one of the portals. And a lot of times I notice that these guys don't always pathfind towards villages. So just because there might be a village in this direction, you want to make sure you have the portals kind of scattered out. Have them about 32 blocks from each other because this seems about the distance in which the pillagers will be able to pathfind to an opening. Otherwise, they'll just sit against the fence and keep bumping up against it. The rates of this farm seem pretty decent, although it's kind of slow because you have to sit here and wait for a patrol to spawn in. But as you AFK, like overnight, you end up with quite a few of these guys over in your trap. I had maybe about 200 of them after overnighting it. But the problem is, there is some bugs to do with the nether portals, which will have to get fixed before this can be a consistent way to get emeralds. Now, to enter the nether without having to go in the same area as the pillagers do, just put up another nether portal, which is higher up. This way, the one that is linked with the farm is going to be down low. And then I have another portal that's linked up with this one. So if we go through here, this one's probably wide level about 70 or 80-ish. And you can see this one in the nether here is also level about wide level 80. And then this one down here is the same level as the ocean, which is about 63. And that way, all the pillagers come through this portal, and when the player comes through, he comes through that portal. And then you can come down here and activate this switch. And then you can come down and loot the villagers from down below. I have provided the world download to my pillager patrol farm down in the description. A relatively easy way to farm up the pillager patrols for all those emeralds and banners. So I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and if you found this interesting, show me the like and share this with others. I greatly appreciate that. If you have any questions about this farm or anything that you would like me to research some more, go ahead and ask me down in the comments. Bye-bye!